FBC.
Yo, what
up, y'all?
What's up, y'all?
Welcome back.
What's happening,
Welcome
family?
back.
Welcome back to FBC, where we help families live well by having transparent, real conversations.
Real
Right.
convo.
The
Real
real
convo.
combos.
The transparent
The stuff
convo.
that nobody else want to say.
Come on.
That
Well,
part.
Now here's
Or
the
maybe
thing.
they saying it, but
They may be saying it,
not
but
like
they ain't
us.
saying it like us.
Okay, that
We
part.
committed to saying it.
We committed to saying it. And we have different perspectives, and we have perspectives that we pretty much cover the gamut
Come on.
Yeah.
of life's circumstances.
Come on.
For
I'd say-
sure.
I'd say I
Between,
agree.
we got Anthony over there, we got Constance over here, we got Corinne over here, and we got me, Brian. We've been through a lot. We've
been
done a
through a
lot,
lot.
seen a lot, experienced
Seen
a
a
lot,
lot.
and came through a lot, for
Yeah,
sure.
sure.
Yes, indeed.
Today,
What we talking about?
we got a hot topic.
Conversation today is going to be, let's talk disciplining our children.
Ooh,
Okay?
Yo,
Like,
ooh, Lord.
can we talk about, like, what's too far?
Too far?
what's too
I know
far?
if our kids are here, they'd be like, I can tell
They be
you.
like, I'll
They'd be
tell you a
like,
little
hey,
thing that was
I know
too
it's too
far.
far.
I got trauma now.
Yeah.
Hey, down.
What's
Okay,
too far when it comes to discipline? And what do you consider like effective discipline?
Effective discipline, and what's too far?
Oh,
That's
gosh.
crazy, man. You could have asked me when I started having kids.
19?
You could have asked me at 19, it would have been one way. And you asked me now at 43, it's another way.
Okay.
When I was younger, you know, I did what was done to me.
Right.
You know, it's like if you get out of line, get out of pocket, you got one of those, you know it's coming, you just don't know when. Bow! You know, right in the kisser.
Backhands.
Right.
And you see lights with you see stars and darkness with your eyes wide open.
Yeah.
You know, but as I got older, it's a crazy thing. So quick story. My second eldest, right? We were in a situation where I think the power in our house was out or something. And, you know, the boys were over at Constance's parents' house and they slept on the floor and one of them peed on the floor. And then when Constance went in there to say something to him about it, he got like an attitude and he like pushed her.
Wow.
So when I get the call, I'm at the house because I'm like, I could tough it out at the house.
Of course.
And I didn't want to, honestly, it was pride. I didn't want to be in my wife's parents' house.
Yeah, for sure.
With my kids. It just, for me, as a man, it was like a blow. So
Yeah.
I was staying at home with the lights out. And I get the call about it and I tweak out because I'm
Yeah.
like, what?
Yeah.
Long story short, he comes over to the house. The whole time, it took them about 15 minutes to get to the house. I'm thinking about it the whole time. I'm infuriated. I'm angry. I'm going to tear his tail up. He comes over to the house. He still has this attitude with her
Okay.
and shows it. So I took my belt and I started hitting him on his legs. He starts squirming around, so I'm hitting him, but he moving so much.
Yeah.
And he's very bright skinned. Now he had on jeans. I took him home. He went to school that day. Came home. I think that was a Friday. I took him to his mother's house because she got him on weekends. I said, now look, I had to whoop him because he did X, Y, Z. Well, when he gets over there and he takes his pants off, there's red marks all on his legs. So her and her mother were like calling me, blowing up. I was like, I told you I whooped him. QDs ain't blah, 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 you know. So I did the most,
Right.
but it looked worse than what I did.
Yeah.
Because he's like me. So he goes to school. Now, by this time, I'm working at the church. I think I've been at the church for about maybe 6 months, right?
Yeah.
I think you were there too, right?
Yeah. I was there at that point.
And, you know, I'm at the office. I get a call from the school.
And
And I'm like, they was like, yeah, we need you to come down to the school. So I come down to the school. I'm like, Why they so adamant
You had
about
on, I
me
remember
coming?
you left in the suit.
No, I had on like a red
You ain't have on
dress
a suit,
shirt,
no?
a red
Yeah,
dress
red
shirt,
tie.
Yeah.
black pants, red tie or black tie, red and black tie, dress shoes, and I go up in there. And when I walk up in there, I see the police car and everything. I'm like, oh, you know,
Wow.
So I walk up in there
In the counselor's office.
in the counselor's office. So one of the offices that I pass by, I see the mom, I see his mom and his grandmom in there, and the next office where I go into, the officers are there. So they put me in handcuffs, walk me out of the school.
Wow.
In the
Handcuffs
middle
right
of
there in the school.
transition.
In the middle of transition.
Wow.
And I'm like, what is this?
So all the kids in the hallway.
Yeah.
All the kids was in the hallway.
Oh.
Yep. And I was like, what is happening? Like, so make a long story short, I got locked up. I think I got out like the next day or something like that. But I couldn't see my son for
A year.
a year. And that broke me. By the time the court case came, my sentence was
Anger management.
anger management classes and
Community service.
community service, right? So I did that, but in the
Wait.
go ahead.
Can't see for a year.
Mm-hmm.
That was discharged and you ended up with, right?
After the year,
No, he couldn't. He.
Wait.
what we were waiting on a court date.
Yeah.
So while we're waiting on the court date, I couldn't see my son.
weren't permitted to
so
see.
like
That
Christmas,
happened for a whole year?
yeah. So Christmas came.
Wow.
and-
I'm tripping right now.
Yeah. Christmas came. I brought like 3 big old garbage bags
Wow.
full of clothes. I mean, full of toys and
Yeah,
all
yeah,
type
yeah,
of stuff.
yeah.
I went to the front door,
Left it at the
knocked on the
door.
door, and then left. So as
We
far
didn't
as they
even-
know,
we didn't even know like if they got it, if they liked it.
or
Like
if they said, "Oh yeah, this from us," I ain't know what the deal was.
that was just.
I just wanted to make sure they had a Christmas. You know what I'm saying?
I do want to say one thing. He did not push me, but he was at the age where he was like right on the brink of like coming out of elementary school, like going through elementary school. So he
So like
was
4th grade.
He was like swelling
grade.
up on me. So he was acting like he wanted to go up against it.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, babe, for those of you who don't know, I'm stepmom.
Yeah.
So that situation really got intense because it became a stepmom against stepson kind of
Wow.
thing when really it wasn't that. Like I'm a disciplinarian. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
for
And
sure.
so when it came to my bonus boys, I disciplined them the same way I would our children.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't decipher. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
They were all the same.
I love you just like you're mine. And this is how I handle discipline. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And I think just at the time, his mother and I didn't see eye to eye about it. But for me, anyway, so yeah, he was puffing up at me and I'm like, and at that stage in his life, his anger looked like rage.
Nah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? So I knew where it was going and I'm like, ain't no way.
Right.
So rather than getting my dad involved, I'm like, no, I'm going to call your dad. Except granddad probably would have been a little
It would have been better. It would have been
been
better.
better.
That would have been the more wise choice, honestly, because at that time it's like I was raised, there are certain things that is just a no-go. I came up in a household where it's like you don't even suck your teeth,
Right.
let alone roll your eyes.
Right.
I mean, that was the era, though.
That was the era we grew up
Yeah.
in. So hindsight 2020, just going back to the context of what we're talking about as far as discipline and what's too far, what I did was too far.
Yeah.
What should have happened was he come and I give him a stern talking to ensure that he understands, because with my size, with who I am, it would have spoke louder.
Yeah.
But at the time, that's not what I wasn't thinking about none of that. I was a immature Christian. Still trying to, I was still at that time weeding myself off of weed, to be honest with you.
You was a young father. That's
Yeah,
what you knew. Yeah, that was just what you knew. You
Not
was,
trying to make excuses for it.
No.
Because it was wrong.
right.
Bottom line.
So
But yeah, if I was to do it over again, I would have gave him a stern talking to, and I would have asked questions because I legit thought in that moment he pushed her.
Yeah, for sure. That's all.
I didn't hear, you know, he act like he wanted to. You know what I'm saying? What I heard was he pushed, and I'm on it.
But I think, you know, in the vein of not excusing it, but I feel like, you know, some explanation is applicable when it comes to, first of all, when we talk about our boys, we know our boys.
For sure.
So I think a lot of times, and I'm not saying nothing is right or wrong, but we have to match a certain energy when it comes to certain children.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I know your boys, and I know you got to match a certain energy.
I wouldn't have had to come
know
at
what I'm
Junior
saying?
like that at all.
Right. Or Shane.
Or Shane.
Right. So I know you got to match a certain energy. But
Yeah.
again, yes, younger, more immature. Now we know how to handle things a little bit differently. But in those moments, at that time of
For
life,
sure.
you had to match that energy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, but as far as discipline is concerned, I definitely think there needs to be some type of education, I feel.
Definitely.
Just when you're going into parenting, just like you prepare for anything, I think people should prepare for parenting.
Yeah.
And when you become a parent early, unfortunately, we didn't get to plan being parents, even though the doctor said, hey, if you're doing X, Y, Z, then you're trying to be a parent.
Right.
Well,
Right.
we were just, doing what we had to do anyway.
Yeah.
But I think there should be a level of preparation so that you can get understanding, you can get tools
Yeah.
on how to handle situations. Because again, going back to a previous conversation we had in terms of relationships, you do what you're exposed to,
Yeah.
Sure.
what you
Yeah.
know to do. And that discipline that I showed my children was discipline that I myself went through. You know what I'm saying? Even though in certain instances at the time as a child, I used to despise the discipline my father
Right.
gave me.
Right.
But then as I'm growing up, I'm like, well, I get it, and it worked. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm just like, I'm gonna whoop your behind. And not really realizing that some scenarios don't require it. We did grow up in a era where conversation was very little. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying much to you because I don't have to explain myself. That's the generation we came from. And you don't ask me why. You
don't
say
ask
yes,
no
ma'am,
questions.
or
Yeah,
you
for
say,
sure.
no, ma'am, no,
Right.
sir, yes, sir, whatever. And so that's kind of what I was duplicating. And then a part of me, I know I parented my children out of fear. There was a level of me because their dad was still in the street when we first got married. So growing up, I watched my mom have to say, wait till your daddy get home
Yeah.
before we got in line. And that was a mental note. I'm like, I will not be one of those wives who have to say, wait till your dad get home. And I
Wow.
wanted to make sure that when
Big
he's
deal.
away, there's
respect
order.
me.
Exactly. Because I'm not going to be at home suffering until he get here. No, y'all gonna listen to what I say.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
I took everything that my dad
That's real.
did, and he did it to establish structure because he was in the military, so he was often away. So, I took that same mentality. And that's how I disciplined my children. So I was on them about everything. I mean, they had to ask me to go in the refrigerator. They asked for everything. I mean,
Yeah.
I was running a tight ship to the point where, my bonus boys, like it affected our relationship because they didn't really like being at the house.
Wow.
And so here
Well,
he,
it wasn't that they didn't like being at the house. At our house, there was structure.
Yeah.
So when they're going between two houses, it doesn't take much to cause division. All you have to do is magnify one over the other. So at the other house, it wasn't a lot of structure. They could pretty much, I don't want to say they could do what they wanted to do, but compared to what they had to do at our house,
Right.
Yeah.
they could literally do what they
excessive.
wanted to do.
Yeah, because again, we were on top of everything.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that was necessarily a bad thing, but in the midst of that, I do know that like my fears of having a chaotic home, that got put into there. And so when it comes to disciplining your children, going back to needing tools, I think it's important that you empower yourselves so that you're not parenting out of fear.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that you're not parenting them out of trauma. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And then you subconsciously pass on the trauma you're trying to avoid.
For sure.
Yeah.
So that's a discipline no.
Yeah.
You know?
Shoot, I feel like, I don't know. I mean, when you say to prepare, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if you really can per se, just because everybody different.
Yeah.
That's true.
Everybody come from different backgrounds. People were raised differently. You know, what may work for your kids may not work for my kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got the gentle parenting thing happening. You got like some kids respond differently to other, you know,
Yeah.
other kids. Like, I mean, even growing up, there were 4 of us in the house. But there were things my parents didn't have to say to me
Yeah.
that they had to say, you know, to my siblings.
yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it was just, or I was don't do it, and I would never touch it again.
Yeah.
But then my brother, 5, 6, 7 times. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Right.
like, even just the whole matching the energy, like Brian said, like it's relative. I
Yeah.
think, you know what I mean? I feel like as long as I've been a parent, and the things that I learned with our oldest is how I think we apply parenting even to our girls. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like we learn so much with him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, we apologize to him sometimes.
Yeah. It evolves.
Cause we be like,
For sure.
son,
We missed it.
We it's a lot we learned. You know,
We grew up together.
we grew up.
Yeah.
You know?
We grew up
Like,
together.
for sure.
We figured
For
out
sure.
what worked, what didn't
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
That's not, you know what I mean? Like we were able to like really tweak, you know, certain things that, you know, we tell them now, like, you know, you turned out good. son.
Yeah.
All
You
in
know,
all,
and maybe a few things that you might not
You're
have
a cool
agreed
kid.
with.
you're a cool kid.
You're a really great
Right.
guy. Really great.
Yeah.
You know? So, and he, you know, he would agree, you know, he
Yeah.
would say the same. But sometimes he do get on us, you know, just about how we parent the girls.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot we
Very
learned.
much
Yeah.
different.
You know, it was a lot we learned along the way.
Because of
like
maturity.
Yeah.
we grew,
for
like we
sure. We
grew
grew up,
so
man.
much. We gained so much wisdom.
For sure.
But can I tell another person this is how they should deal with their son? You know, so this I'm like, maybe they got similar personalities. I
Right.
mean, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
to me, I don't know. It's just
I
relative
think-
to me.
I think
don't
where
know.
I would go with that, as far as a blanketed rule of thumb, from what I've learned, like when we talk about matching energy, yeah, but the danger of matching, you can't match energy with an unyielded emotional response.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Like when you match energy with a wild hurricane, tsunami type emotional response,
Yeah.
that's when you causing trauma in your household.
For sure.
There you go.
I remember it was a Sunday morning. We was headed to church. Called Keon down from upstairs. Come on, we got to get to church. You know, we set up early in the morning. So when we say we got to go, we got to go.
Right.
Yeah.
And he know his responsibilities when we get there. You know what I'm saying? And I remember I said, hey, let's get out of here. We got to go. He came coming down the stairs. And at that time, you know, as we evolve and grow in life, we were at a place at that point in our life when our cable cord was running across our living room.
Right. Right.
And he comes down the stairs and kicks the cord all out of place, all out of whack, and just kept walking. I said, hey, get that back. Put that back where it's supposed to go. He looked at me and kept walking. Now, unfortunately, at this point in life, I say I'm raising a young man, and I got to make sure I'm looking at certain telltale signs of him pushing against the system.
Right.
Because when a young man pushes against the system, quote unquote,
And get away with
without
it.
being checked,
Exactly.
now it's a real thing.
Right.
So
That's the green light.
So now this is where, you know, we kill ants with sledgehammers, meaning I'm gonna smash this thing to where it don't even have a chance of reappearing in my household.
For sure.
So he kicks this cord, and here I am. I pull out my sledgehammer. I'm matching energy with an unyielded emotional response.
Yeah.
I grab him. I wipe the walls with him.
Okay, Jay.
It's not funny.
It's not funny. It's funny now because I hear him.
Yeah.
And I see him and I see who he is now, and the conversations that we have now.
Right.
We're able to look back and say, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But in that moment, when I wipe the walls with him, here's the thing. When God is the center of your house, when
Right.
God is the center of your life,
Yeah.
I heard very clearly God say, it's not your place to beat him. It's your place to train him.
Yeah.
And when I heard that, I let him go, and I got it.
Yeah.
He literally in that moment downloaded a whole situation called Basic Man Training,
Yeah.
where I put together a curriculum and entered my son into this curriculum to where there was consequences and rewards.
Yeah.
So I began to discipline from a place of, if you do this, there's a consequence for that. But you do this,
There's a merit.
and I'm going to honor you for
Yeah.
that. And I found a place to be able to discipline my son in a way that was uplifting to him, empowering to him, but also had a system of, hey, let's not play with that.
Understanding that
We
there are
gon-
consequences
it's a consequence
for
for
your
that.
actions.
A
Yeah.
consequence meaning
I and my boys benefited from that.
Yeah.
So making
'Cause we
sure
were
you're
walking in that
surrounded
time.
around people
Yeah.
who are like-minded,
Yeah.
not like-minded, people who are like-minded as far as where you're trying to go and
Yeah.
what you're on now
Yeah,
compared
yeah,
to
yeah.
what you were on being brought up.
Yeah.
How
See,
you were
that's
brought
it.
up just don't
That's
make
it.
it right just
That's
because
it.
that's how
That's
you was
how
brought
you
up.
had to
You could have been brought up
we had
wrong.
to transition
Yeah.
out of the norms.
Self-deception.
Yeah.
This that and again, community people,
Yep.
like-mindedness. We all benefit from each other's
For sure.
Evolution.
evolution.
For sure.
It helps us
For
evolve
sure.
together.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, so okay. A consequence was
Why are you laughing?
because Shane, when we was at the house the other night,
That's my
He was
youngest
talking
boy.
about-
that's the Adam's youngest boy, they're all grown now.
All grown.
He was saying how Keon had to wear school uniform even though he didn't go to the same school as them. He wasn't even in a school that had uniform, but that was one of the things. Hey man,
Yeah.
hey, you don't make these grades, you in uniform.
Yeah.
I don't care if we at church, if we at the playground, if we at the store. Your clothing,
Consequence.
your consequences, you're in uniform. But he understood that.
Yeah.
Because he used to wear uniform. They was out playing basketball and he would be in a school uniform.
He was playing basketball in his
And loafers.
in
Khakis and a polo.
But it wasn't a physical beating.
Right.
It wasn't an emotional response. It wasn't me making something up as we went.
Right.
It was, no, you know what it is.
Right.
If you do this,
Yeah.
then,
Back to the basics.
it's back to the basics.
Yeah.
That's what we called it. It's back to the basics. It's time for a reset.
Yeah.
And now you have to earn an edge up.
Right. And those are the types of tips and,
You mean
and
haircut?
tools.
You're-
haircut.
You're not getting
Amen. Amen. And, hey, listen, and to our audience, these church folks doing this. So I don't want you to think, listen, and we got Jesus in us. We know God, but listen, hey, we're not perfect. We're just forgiven. But we allow the Holy Spirit to help
man.
us raise these kids.
But that's
And-
why I
and
say
that's
it's
what it was,
relative.
for
That's
real.
why I say it's relative. It's to each his own.
Yeah.
Because I mean, him hearing from the Lord in the midst,
in
Right.
the midst
him
of it.
said of him just like, uh-oh. You know
In the
what I'm
midst
saying?
of disrespect.
Here we go.
But
Yeah,
I
in the
think
midst. In the
that I
midst.
think that what came out of it is a tool
Yep.
that
Yeah.
even our family, you know what I'm saying, like our viewers, you guys would be able to benefit if you're raising young boys from
Oh,
a
yeah.
basic man training. So those are like the tools and the tips
Yeah,
I'm
for
saying,
sure.
because it is relative based off of the child.
Yeah.
We have 4 kids, and a bonus niece. So like what we did with Precious, we couldn't do with Riley. What
Right.
we
Yeah.
did with Shane, we couldn't do with Trail. Like
Right.
we had to differ in that aspect, but to even know, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
a tool would be to know that you don't have to do the same thing for every child.
sure.
That's a tool.
That's a
Yeah.
tool.
You know what I'm
For
saying?
sure.
That's empowering
For
to know
sure.
that it's not a blanket one size fits all. And
Right.
I would tell my children that. I would let them know like, hey, each of you are different. I'm not doing the same thing for all of you. What
Yeah.
I do for one, I don't have to do for all.
Yeah.
And you're not going to tell me that that's not fair. I'm
Yeah.
going to make sure all of you are straight.
Yeah.
But I might, take this one out to the park. That's not everybody goes to the park day. That particular child needed a one-on-one time to go to the
good.
park with mom.
Yeah.
And so we're going to handle it that way. And that was something that they didn't like, but they had to kind of grow to adjust to because when it was their turn, it was was all good, you know. But that was something that I had to understand to be able to respect that each one of my children needed their time, needed their space. There were certain things that went across the board, but then there were those times that it was specific.
And that reminds me, like you speaking on that, that reminds me of course, Raylan is my first biological daughter.
Right.
Raylan, that's my first biological child.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like when we had Raylan, it was like, I love her.
Right.
This baby, I love this baby. Of course,
Yeah.
I don't even have to qualify my love for my son.
sure.
Of course.
Absolutely.
But I'm talking about Raylan, my first daughter. And I remember when my wife got pregnant again, I was like, how can I love another?
Right.
Like how? You know, like for real, I'm like, how can, like I love this one, like I'm supposed to love another one. Like, I mean, how is that gonna match?
Yeah.
But it wasn't about matching love. It was I learned that it was loving them differently.
Yes.
The way I love Raylan is different from the way I love Taylor, and the way I love Taylor is different from the way I love Raylan. Now there are some intersecting places.
Right.
But then again, just as there's different love, there's different disciplines.
Yeah.
So I don't discipline Raylan the same way I discipline Taylor because they are
Absolutely.
different children.
They are
They have different
different.
emotional makeups.
Yeah.
They have different personalities. They have different tolerances,
Tolerances, yeah.
intolerances. So you can't just blanket discipline, just like you
sure.
can't blanket love.
Yeah.
I'm listening to you talk, and when you start talking and just how you articulated, how could I love another one like I love this one? I loved my kids, my first two, but I was so young that the love was more so responsibility
Wow.
than it was the intimacy I hear come from what you're saying. One, me and the mom did not get along at all. So when I had time to spend with them, they were spending time with a young man that was addicted to drugs, afraid, frustrated and pissed off he was in this situation with this person in the first place, and just trying to mimic the positive things that I saw from men raising men.
Wow.
So I would try to duplicate or mimic that. And most of it was tough.
Yeah.
Tough love.
Yeah, for sure.
My love didn't become pliable or gentle until the boys were almost 12, 13 years old. That's just keeping it all the way a buck with you. Because I didn't know that. My biological father was locked up 3 days before I was born. And my mom was emotionally absent for me. Her whole thing was I wasn't gonna be gay. So she was super tough on me.
Yeah.
And with that toughness from a woman, she met her goal.
Wow.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah.
Because I'm tough. I'm too tough to the point where at that age, I wouldn't even be able to conceive the type of love that you were describing concerning Taylor coming after Raylan. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
what was the and I guess you mentioned you were young. We have to also consider when Raylan came, I was 31.
Right.
big difference.
Big difference.
Big difference.
So, and I guess it's maturity.
For sure.
It's life. It's learning how to live life. It's learning how to. I mean, you mature spiritually.
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
Yeah.
psychologically,
Wisdom.
all of that.
Me and the boys grew up together. Me and
sure.
all the kids grew up together. You know, I think by the time Shane got here, I was a lot better and a lot more founded in the things of God. And then 2013, how old were they in 2013?
Let's see, it was like six or seven, because he was born in 5.
2013 is when it shifted and the real process began. 2013, I graduated Bible school. I'm in full-time ministry as a pastor, and I'm pastoring youth.
Yeah.
Right.
Heck yeah.
So
Big difference.
the shift drastically changed
Yeah.
because I'm head first in ministry, and then come to the realization that my first ministry is at home,
It's the household.
right?
Yeah.
But by that time, I had to deal with extra issues from the boys, partially from things I created.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So now it's like navigating through that, and we're still going through.
dive a little bit more into that.
Okay.
So you're saying you kind of like an overspill from where you were before,
Correct.
and how you parented before.
Well, not just that, but when you have kids that are torn between two homes, they love their dad, but they love their mom, but they don't have mom and dad together. And then when mom and dad see each other, it's constant conflict. So what I started doing was try to go overly over the top with making sure they saw positive reinforcement from me and their mom.
Yeah.
So I would let her come over to the house. We would go over there. They would come over for barbecues and different things like that. It's not that the issues were addressed or even resolved, but I was going OD
Yeah.
trying to fix what they were brought into, not just by me, but by her too.
Yeah.
And seeing the impact, like when you see your children are hurting as a parent, all you want to do is fix it.
You wanna fix
You know
it.
what I'm saying? All you want to do is fix it. And so when you're trying to raise children and discipline children, but at the same time, you're also wanting to be their hero.
For sure.
You know what I mean? And sometimes you do, you make decisions to the best of your ability.
Yeah.
And one of those ones were, in our situation, Anthony had to suppress a lot of what he was feeling to have the presence of their mother, because seeing a big family made them feel better.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It made them feel good to be
Wow.
like, yeah, my mom's coming over and my auntie, and you know what I mean? And we can sit at a dinner table, and it felt normal to them. You know what I'm saying? And that was important because, just going off of what he did not have. You know what I'm saying? Because he did not have that one big family type of situation.
Yeah.
He wanted to make sure that he was able to provide that in the midst of all the other madness. It's like, man, I gotta try and provide some type of normalcy for my boys. And
That was the main goal. But when I got serious about the things of God,
Yeah.
is when my eyes were open and I had
Yeah.
to drastically make 180 decisions instantly. I didn't have time to evolve into it. It had to be
Yeah.
like pull the paddles out,
Yeah.
clear,
Yeah.
doom.
Yeah.
And it came off that way.
Wow.
Did it work? I think in some cases.
Yeah.
Was it all the way beneficial? Not for my marriage.
Yeah.
Not for my marriage.
What you mean?
Going OD with bringing their mom in close, I wasn't mindful of my wife.
Yeah, man.
Even now, she was, Constance gonna be Constance. She on what I'm on. But what I started realizing was that she's on what I'm on, but didn't want to be.
Yeah.
And I never even asked.
Wow.
Because I'm so driven on, well, it's all about the kids. It's all about the kids. It's all about the kids. And then it took my dad telling me, hey, no, your wife comes first.
Wow.
So when I got that understanding, when I got that realization, I had to have a conversation with them, and I had to fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, just from, just because of who we are in our unit, of course, we were able to see
Yeah.
a lot of that.
Yeah.
And from the outside, like, it looked, you guys did a great job with it. Because
Thank you.
we were all, that was what we did.
what
We
we
all
did.
came together, we barbecued, and that was a part of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Trying to create memories
yeah, and it did.
It
because
did.
when we sat with our kids the other night,
for Christmas.
yeah,
Yeah.
the memories were
Yeah.
explored. So
Yeah.
It made us say, we ain't do so bad.
wasn't so
Right.
bad.
Yeah.
This was good.
Hey, y'all,
Able to
y'all
laugh
all right.
about
By
it.
the grace of God.
By the
So
grace of God.
By the
man.
grace
to
of
me.
God.
Like,
It
literally, like
was.
with them sitting around talking, and them, like, you know, that they didn't have these horror stories. Or
It was
they
real
didn't-
family
We didn't have to
memories.
sit around and feel shame, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
or anything like that. You know, they were just very, very candid, and they were very, like, just bouncing stories off of each other.
Yeah.
You remember that, and you remember, you know, like, I was just like, yo, we did all right out here,
And that's
man.
why
We doing all right.
Like when you ask, you know, why I'm laughing about it, it's because we came through it.
Yeah.
And now we're able to look back, and our children are even able to look back.
Yeah.
And speak on it.
And speak on it.
Yeah.
Because we've had some tough times.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had some strong disciplinary moments.
Yeah.
We grew.
Yeah.
We learned from them for
Yeah.
sure. We evolved.
Yeah.
It's still that evolution of parenthood, just like it's evolution in relationship or marriage.
Yeah.
It's evolution in parenthood
For sure.
to get to the place where we can laugh and enjoy the memories.
Yes.
Even though, you know, the memories was wild, you know.
So I say to the parent who's evaluating their level of discipline, or if, like, I think something that's taboo is being able to hear from your children. You know what I'm saying? And
There it is.
you know, I think it's good to hear from your children concerning, you know, your level of discipline.
It's
or
crucial.
even, this is also taboo because we grew from an era who didn't do this, but asking, like, what do you think is a reasonable discipline action?
How should we handle this?
Right.
you would be enlightened. I mean, I've done it a few times, you know what I mean, with our youngest. 'Cause she's
Amazing.
wonderful.
A testing toddler.
And that's why
She's
Keon
not a
be like,
toddler.
you never did that with me. Oh, y'all just let Keon be laughing
ever
like
say
he the adult. I tell Taylor to do something, and she may not jump to it like
She
he will.
may not
And
do it.
Keon acting like an old man. Looking at me laughing. You see what she did?
You getting soft. You
Yeah.
getting soft, old man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think, like, hearing that, you know, and having them to have a hand in it, you know what I'm saying? Like, Brian, when you said, like, Keon was aware, like, these are the consequences.
Yeah.
Like, this is what we're going to agree on, and then this will be the consequence.
I think he signed something. Did
Yeah,
you make him sign
we had a
something?
contract.
And agree. See?
We put an agreement in place, but it was okay. No, this is how you're honored. That's what we
Right.
focus on. You do these things. You keep this end of the deal. This is how I honor you.
Right.
Yeah.
But the other side of that, these are the things that happen if these things aren't upheld.
And it,
So
gave,
it's
it was
grades,
a different
it's
response.
an empowerment.
I
It was an
seen
empowerment.
him change overnight.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
kind of how, like, literally how it was.
Because it felt like a partnership.
Yeah, it
partnership.
felt like, okay, I'm involved in this.
Yes.
It's not just one sided, my parent, you know, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, I know if I don't do my end of the bargain, these are the consequences.
That's right.
So even when they came, he was,
Now,
I know.
on the other
Right.
side of that, because yes, it is an agreement. As a parent, I'm entering into an agreement as
For
well.
sure.
So
For
I have
sure.
to uphold my
Your
end
end, right.
of the agreement as
Right.
well.
Yeah.
I know one of the conversations, the way Anthony used to present it to our children is we're a team.
Yep.
You know, and in this team, everybody has a role. And in order for the team to win, everybody has to play their part.
Yeah.
So if somebody is not playing their part, it affects the entire team.
Yeah.
But there is a consequence when you're not playing your part. And you can't expect one person to be able to do their role to the fullest extent when you're out of place.
Right.
And so that's kind of how we related to them expecting for us to come through with things or expecting us to do
Right.
things, but you were out of place.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we used to put that before them often so they know, like, you're not playing your part,
Yeah.
man. Like, these grades, you're not playing your part. If you tried, you know, you did everything you were supposed to, and that's the best you could do, that's one thing. But when you didn't play your part because you didn't study and you stayed up, you're not playing your part. So you're not in place, and that affected the
Wow.
team.
So
you know what I mean?
I'm laughing because I'm thinking about one time I told Junior, I said, son, I tell you what, if you could bring home all A's and B's,
Like, buy them
he wanted something.
something.
He was like, man, that's messed up. I said, what? He said, you know I ain't bringing home no A's and no B's. I cracked up, man. He said, Dad gonna give me something he know I can't do because that's messed up, man. That's messed up.
That's why.
Junior was the one to, he really should be a lawyer.
Yeah, man.
He
Come time.
everything.
So post jail and post anger management classes, which really helped. I recommend any father who was raised wrong to get anger management classes because it helped me. It helped me take it to a hold your hand out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Type of discipline. But Junior would be like, Dad, I give you $5.
Then he'd be like, wait, Dad, can I say something?
I give you $5.
So it would take 30 minutes
Can I say
to
something?
discipline
But
him
he be done started laughing.
because it's so funny. And I'm like, he's like, he'll just faint. I'm like, get your butt up, boy. And I'm trying to remain serious. Junior was hilarious.
He couldn't even, and he barely got whippings in the first place.
Barely
so it's
got
just like, but I know that just disciplining our children all together. I think that overall, I feel like our discipline style has evolved with our maturity and with our growth.
Yeah, they grown now, so
Yeah.
Right.
I still make them hold their hand out. So.
But time's sake.
I'm 23.
I was also
Hold
thinking
your
about a time where Anthony, he held Junior responsible. So just, hey, if you accomplish these tasks, if you he was trying to teach them to work. He said, hey, if you go out there, rake some leaves, mow some lawns, you make X amount of dollars.
I bought all the lawn equipment just for them.
Hey, you hooked them up. You gave them a landscaping business.
I did.
A whole business and communicated to the
You
neighborhood.
gave them a whole situation.
Typed them up a flyer. I think Glow came over to the house and helped them name the business.
They had the whole situation.
Yeah.
He's like, all you
Flyers
gotta do
and
is work
everything.
it. Whatever you bring home, I'll match it.
So if you bring home 400, I'm gonna give you now you got 800.
Now you got 800. Child, them
Dollar for
kids.
dollar
I think
match.
one year Junior barely
came
got
home.
school clothes.
I said, now how much money you got? I ain't got no money.
I said, bruh.
I said, son, we had a deal.
Yeah.
And I had to honor my part. I got a picture because you take pictures of the first day of school. All the kids was fresh, but Junior. My mama went crazy.
She went crazy.
You better not do that, baby, like that. You better not do that, baby, like that.
He went to his mama on that. He went to his mom on
I
that.
hate it here.
His mom was really upset, but we had to say, like, we upheld our part of the deal.
Yeah.
But that does bring something to mind. Mocha, you shared a clip where a father was disciplining his son, and as a result of something he did at school, shaved off his locks.
It said he was bullying a kid who had cancer.
Yeah.
Because he was bald.
Yeah, it's tough.
And shaved off his locks. So just being conscious of traumatic discipline, I think, is very important as
But man,
parents.
when I read the comments, everybody in the comments were like, "That's what I would have did. I would have did that. I would have did
It's a
that."
generation.
It was a consensus.
Consensus.
It was a
Yeah.
consensus. Everybody
I've
was
cut the
on it.
boys' hair off. I've done that.
Yeah, I remember.
That's when I was trying to learn how to. I couldn't afford the haircuts.
So you
Just keeping it
Club.
100.
Even
Under
Steven.
Even Stevens.
I knew
Get
how
the
to
one
do
guard and
those.
go all the way around.
I knew how to do
So
those.
when it comes to that, like, your child is making fun of a child who's in a serious situation, and he cut his locks off. Like, I get that. Like, for real, it's like, I mean, honestly, okay, it's two sides to it. How you gonna discipline? Are you gonna wipe the walls with him, or are you gonna say, you know what, sit down and
show
let
you
me
something.
let me help you understand what it is to
That
walk
part.
in that child's shoes.
That part.
Now, how did he explain it? How did he communicate? How did he
part.
articulate it?
That part.
Because it could have been an articulation, a conversation, and no, I understand this hurt, but no, you going through this because I need you to be empathetic.
Yeah.
You have to understand what the next child is going through, the next man is going, next human being is going through. Or it could have just been, sit down, let me show you, and something crazy, and now
Absolutely.
you've created a core memory.
And we
that
may
is
never
trauma.
know how it happened, and I completely agree 100%. It's all about the how, like what happened before that process, and I'm not gauging it based off of how the child responded, because our kids can be dramatic.
For sure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
They can put on and be really extra, but that how before you get to that place, just how you walk them up to it. That's the difference between it being a lesson learned and a traumatic situation. And I think that's the difference.
Even with the of course, we don't know how our kids are in school,
Right.
Okay? Like, so it's like some people may say, well, maybe, are you instilling integrity and character and
Right.
and all those different things into your kids so that they do have a certain level of empathy and they know not to say those types of things to kids.
That's a
Yeah.
real thing.
You know what I mean? Like that's a thing too.
That
so it's like
is.
now him having to shave his hair off is like, are you taking some of that responsibility
Right.
for what he said to this child
So
as
now,
well? You know
there
what I
is
mean?
another level of, because now I'm thinking about, okay, if one of my children, this is being empathetic, right? Putting
Right.
yourself in the place of somebody
Yeah.
else, right?
Right.
That's empathy, right?
Right.
If so and so did blank to so and so, would I cut hair?
Right.
Or you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's pretty deep.
It is.
Like, would I cut Taylor's hair off?
Right.
She's a girl.
It's different.
It's
Keon,
way different.
Hair would have been gone.
Come on, it grows back like that.
Easy.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
I'm just playing. Listen,
Listen,
and I'm
I don't want nobody
Yeah, you're
to
right.
take. Now here's the thing. I got
That's
this
what I say.
kid.
All the parents on that. That's what I would have did. That's what I would have
Listen,
did.
I got this kid who has autism. He was at school, and another kid walks up to him, slaps him, just cuz. One, if that was my son, I'd be livid. But I automatically go to the parent of the young man who felt no type of discretion
to slap the kid.
to do that
Yep.
to this kid who is super quiet, don't mess with nobody,
To yourself, right.
to himself, does what he's supposed to do. You can't even really tell. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, what happens? How do you discipline the kid that's doing that?
But that's what I'm
Mocha.
saying.
I was getting ready to say,
I'm
Fran.
saying that start with the parent. There's a responsibility for the parent to take ownership of some of that. It's not just fully on the kid because we're the ones raising them.
Yeah.
And then
we're the ones
too-
teaching them how do you behave in school.
Yeah.
How do you show empathy and
Right.
and be sensitive and be mindful
Yeah.
and have good character and integrity with each other.
So what could what
So-
could be the issue the parent did to make Lil Rico do that?
Man.
I'm saying, I was gonna say that you have to consider one thing I did when I was in school. I don't even know where I got it from, but I often thought about like whoever the bully was. In order for me not to respond, I'm like, who did it to you? Like, what's wrong? What happened to
It's
you
always
to
something.
make you
It's
feel
always
like,
something.
because we're programmed, you know what I'm saying? So what have you been exposed to that made you come to school so sad, so angry, whatever? And 9 times out of 10, they got issues at home, or
Baby.
maybe
Yeah.
they're
You a
being
unicorn.
neglected. And
You a unicorn.
But I'm just
Because
saying,
if somebody slapped Tay,
I'm not saying that I wouldn't be upset.
are you thinking about that?
I know I'm just saying when it comes to the like
We come
trying to
against
hold
that
the
in
parent
Jesus' name,
accountable.
'cause,
Jesus' name. Don't put on me more than I could bear.
Yeah, you can
Just
put on me.
please
No,
Because godparents coming too.
yeah, I
It's
know.
like, what happened?
Hallelujah.
I'm just saying, before the kid, even whatever the kid
And that's
is
with
going
God
through.
at the center.
That's what God is right here in the center.
Right here.
Somebody going to jail tonight.
What?
No. All is well.
I was so curious when I heard this story.
So whoever is assigned to the other kid, it may not be the parent of the victim, but whoever's assigned to the kid, if we want real resolve, like you can punish the kid,
Yeah.
but is that a lesson or is that going to
Right.
add to the hurt
That's
and the
what I'm
pain
saying.
and the
It's gonna
anger
add to
that's
the-
going to make them come back harder? That's going to make them
Right.
come back strong. Like they're going to, next time it won't be they slap the kid. Next time they'll
could be
punch the
anything.
kid or they'll use a
Right.
weapon because we're not dealing with the issue,
The
is what
issue.
I'm
Yep.
saying.
So, I
Yep,
get
yep.
that. So, to the mother, the single mom that's out there, to the single mom that's out there raising little Damien.
Why his name?
Jaquantes.
No, raising the spawn of Satan. Right? Now I know kids are computers, and the only thing that comes out is what's been put in. What about to that foster mom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That adopted a kid
For
and has
sure.
shown it nothing. Has shown that child nothing but love.
Yeah, that's true,
But by
babe.
way of DNA and familiar
Other
spirits,
things,
whatever
mama.
things like
Right,
that.
yeah.
What do you
So,
suggest?
so here's the thing. Okay, so the process of discipline, we have to enter
Yeah.
into it has to become a process
Yeah.
of rearing.
Yeah.
A process of discipline, meaning I'm not reactive to what happens.
Yeah.
I'm proactive in
Yes.
shaping
Yep.
behavior.
And
Yep,
having
yep,
a
yep.
plan
We
and
have,
tools.
we have to be
Basic man
proactive
training.
in shaping behavior. That's it.
So you said it earlier. You said I can't match
Energy.
the energy that's coming at me. Well, one, you can't match the energy of an undeveloped, untrained, unmatured being, because it's easy to lose sight of your purpose in that child's life when you're emotionally driven.
Yeah.
So
And you come down to the level of
Come
the
down to
immaturity
right.
that's coming your way.
that's what emotion do. Unyielded emotion, unrestrained emotion.
Right.
That's
So when you make fun of that Karen that's in Walmart and little Johnny, shut up, mom, sit down. I said I want a Go-Gurt now. And all of the black parents are like,
I said I want a Go-Gurt.
give me 5 minutes with
Yeah.
that little
Pass them to
baby.
me.
Yeah.
Pass them to me.
Because the thing is,
give me
okay,
5
so here's the thing.
Give me-
Okay,
okay.
so in the process of discipline, there has to be a starting point.
Yeah.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
So you're saying
So-
you can't just jump
Dive in.
It's a process.
You gotta
It's-
kind of
it's, it's a roller coaster. It's an incline.
Yeah.
And then there's a let go, and then there's a
Yeah.
ride. Now the thing about a roller coaster is it may feel out of control.
Yeah.
It may feel scary. It may feel unsafe. But everything about that roller coaster has been to every single detail and every standard
out.
and everything is thought out.
Yeah.
So you have to put your child on the roller coaster. Now, while we're waiting on the car to pull up, if little Johnny
How he waits in that line
is
matters.
garnering how we are in that line. Now, don't get this wrong. I do got a pair of boxing gloves in the garage.
Because
And
sometimes.
You got to kind of set the precedent.
Yeah.
And I know that may feel like we're going left. Did that feel left field?
We're waiting
I
to see
think
where
the
you're going
word,
with this.
the word that's used with that is balance.
It's balanced, man.
And one of the fruits of the spirit, that is highly ignored, self-control.
Yeah.
That part. It's easy to identify love and
I
and
mean,
peace
that's
and
how
joy,
the jail systems are filled. Most of them because of lack of self-control.
self-control. But what from somebody that's been there, somebody that's made the mistake and paid his debt to society,
Yeah.
never train your child out of anger.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Never train your child out of anger. The Bible says, train up a child in the way they should go. And when they're old, they won't depart from it. The problem is we keep trying to raise our children. It's our job to train our children. It's God's job to raise them. The problem is we keep trying to step in front of these consequences that come to them. So we keep trying to save them from things that's really, it's like, God's like, I'm trying to help you.
Yeah.
But you keep trying to get in the way.
And that's how the extra discipline is needed because you keep
You
stepping in
frustrating
front of
yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
You doing this.
Yeah.
Because there was a consequence that could have came
Yeah.
by way of the school teacher or by way of the resource officer in the school. But you up there trying to cuss out the principal
Yeah.
and
Well,
trying to
you
cuss
know
out
he ain't
everybody.
wrong.
You don't know my kid.
How
You don't
you
know.
in
No,
here?
we're
You
sending
know
him
he
to
the bully.
tribunal.
You
No,
don't
that's
know
my baby. You ain't
Quandary.
Now, where was the teacher at when the teacher was supposed to?
You most of the time the parents know their kid is the bully in there. They still in there.
You
arguing.
know you
don't know
raising little Rico.
Delronte.
Little what, little who?
Delronte.
That is somebody's name
You
somewhere.
out there raising little Del Monte, the fruit cup.
Del Monte fruit cup.
Listen, guys, these names, I'm saying I'm making these names up. If these are names that you guys know, We're not speaking
You ought to be
that
ashamed of
not.
yourself.
We're just-
I'm just playing. No. So Sanquavius,
Oh my God.
Son Quaver. That's a bad little joke.
Sanquavius. Did I spell that right,
I
man?
don't know.
Sanquavius.
But no, man.
Gosh.
B-Tran
What?
B-Tran Vias.
Johnson. Jackson.
All you got to put is Vias on the end. Okay, stop, y'all. We're done with that.
You're gonna take all of that out.
There's certain names you're not going to see in certain counties.
Hey, man. Chill.
We're not doing that. We're not doing that.
Oh, I just said too much.
We're not editing.
No, that's the
We
truth.
don't have time.
What's our theme? What we do?
Real transparent conversation.
Conversations.
But yes, when it
Yeah.
comes to discipline, what we are saying is
Yeah.
one, we're saying that it should be levels.
For sure.
We are also saying as a parent, you should allow yourself to be equipped with tools. And then also do some self eval to make
Yeah,
sure
man.
that you're not parenting from a place of fear and past trauma.
And what Brian said, it's your job to train the kid, not beat the kid. And it's your job to train the kid. It's God's job to raise the kid.
Yeah.
Yes. So
That's good, man.
those are the
some
takeaways.
tools.
Yeah,
That's some great
yeah.
stuff.
Some
Yeah.
tools
Shoot, it's
to
a good
learn
start.
from our experiences, our mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not wiping the walls with kids
We're
anymore.
not gonna wipe the
Yeah.
walls with kids.
We're not leaving a road map to China on our kids anymore.
No,
For real.
oh God.
Okay.
Yep.
No road maps.
Yep.
I think next time
Therapy.
we have this conversation, we should invite some of our kids.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that they can
So we
see,
can
man,
talk.
those
No.
kids went through hell. Our kids are pretty good.
No,
Our kids are good.
They're pretty good
Our
kids.
kids are good
And let
kids.
them speak freely on how
Let them speak on it.
our parenting
Yeah.
affected them.
And let
or-
them be real about it.
For
Yeah,
sure.
we can bring
Real
Shane on.
transparent
Yeah.
conversation.
He here
for
before
sure.
he head off to the Air Force.
Come on.
We could bring him over here.
Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that'd be dope. He actually wants to.
Good. So yeah.
I've
Let
got
me come and
something to
say
say.
something.
Yeah, let's
I'm like,
do it.
oh God,
That'd be great.
Yeah.
say what you need to say, son.
Well, guys, this has been another episode of Family by
Family
Choice.
by
Family
We
by
are helping
Choice.
families live well by having real, transparent conversations.
For sure.
Please make sure you email us at wearefamilybychoice@gmail.com.
Yep.
And hit us up. Let us
us up.
know what
Yeah.
you want us to have family meetings on. Or if you want to
Questions.
be maybe a special guest on
We
the
are
show.
taking guests.
We are definitely
So if
taking
you guys
guests.
want to come kick it with us?
Yeah.
So if you're in
we would love
Atlanta
to. Yep.
or the greater Atlanta
you can
area,
fly
Or you can fly
Or
in.
if you want
or you can fly in. Yeah, you gonna pay for it.
Yeah, we're not. At this point, we're not paying for hotels.
At this point, we're not doing any of that. So
One day we will.
you sponsor yourself. You'll leave here with a T-shirt. Family by Choice. How about that? All right.
All right, we love you guys. Make
Yeah.
sure you like, follow, and subscribe. Join the family. You know what I'm saying? Enjoy the camaraderie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the connection.
The
Until next
community.
time.
Till next time.
Peace.